The most powerful alien leader in the galaxy had just arrived, and he wanted to erase a human's mind. No one on the station knew it yet, but before the day was over, the entire Galactic Consortium would learn something terrifying. Humans were not weak, and they were not alone anymore. Orin Cole stood in the medical corridor, staring through the transparent wall at the docking port. The High Arbiter's warship blocked out the stars. It was massive, elegant, deadly. Beside him stood Lyris. She looked fragile at first glance. Pale silver skin, long white hair that shimmered softly, large luminous eyes that seemed too bright for someone recovering from injury. But Orin had seen something else in those eyes. Power. 2 days earlier, he had pulled her from a collapsing diplomatic wing after a mining tremor cracked the station open. He did not know she was royalty. He did not know she was the daughter of the most influential leader in known space. He just heard someone crying for help. So he ran toward danger. That was what humans did. Now she would not let go of his hand. Literally. Her fingers were wrapped tightly around his wrist. Not gently. Not politely. Like she was afraid the universe might steal him away. "I can feel him," she whispered. Orin swallowed. "Your father." She shook her head slowly. "No. You." A strange warmth pulsed between them again. It had started the moment she touched his forehead after he rescued her. Since then, something had changed. She could feel his emotions. And somehow, he could sense hers too. Not words, but impressions. Fear, strength, curiosity, and something fiercely protective. The medical doors slid open. 3 tall figures entered first, armored guards with deep blue skin and glowing markings along their temples. Behind them walked the High Arbiter. He was taller than Orin expected. Calm. Controlled. His silver robes moved like liquid light. His eyes landed on Orin immediately. Cold. "So," the Arbiter said, voice echoing through the corridor, "this is the human." Orin forced himself not to step back. "Yes, sir." Lyris stepped slightly in front of him. Her injured leg trembled, but she did not move aside. Her voice was no longer weak. "He saved me." The Arbiter's gaze softened for half a second when he looked at his daughter, then hardened again. "You have formed a neural bond," he said. "It is unstable, impossible, dangerous." Orin blinked. "I didn't mean to." The Arbiter ignored him. To bond with our kind requires decades of training, genetic compatibility, ritual synchronization. His eyes narrowed. "You are human." There it was. The quiet insult the galaxy always used. Just human. Orin felt something shift inside him. Not anger. Clarity. "Yes," Orin said calmly. "I am." The Arbiter stepped closer. The air itself seemed to hum with psychic energy. "My daughter cannot return home while tethered to an alien mind. The connection must be severed." Lyris tightened her grip instantly. "No." The lights flickered. Not because of station damage. Because of her. Orin felt her fear spike through the bond. Then something else. Defiance. The Arbiter noticed it too. "She grows stronger," he said quietly. "Because of you." A guard stepped forward. "We can remove the human's memory. A clean procedure. The bond will collapse." Orin's stomach tightened. Memory wipe. He would forget her. Forget the rescue. Forget everything. For a moment, fear hit him hard. But then something unexpected happened. The bond flared. And Lyris gasped. Her eyes glowed brighter than before. "No one touches him." The corridor pressure changed. Every being in the hallway felt it. Orin suddenly understood something critical. This was not just attachment. This was amplification. Whatever this species could do naturally, Lyris was doing it stronger, faster. Because of him. The Arbiter studied them both in silence. "Interesting," he murmured. Orin spoke carefully. "Sir, with respect. I didn't ask for this bond. But I won't let anyone hurt her either. The guards stiffened. Humans were not supposed to speak to high arbiters like that. But Orin continued anyway. She almost died. I carried her through toxic gas. I didn't know who she was. I didn't care. She was someone who needed help. Silence filled the corridor. The arbiter's eyes shifted slightly. Confusion. He was not used to hearing that. In the consortium, alliances were strategic. Relationships were calculated. But this human, he had acted without knowing the reward, without knowing the risk. That was not logical. It was human. Lyris stepped forward again. Our minds connected in crisis, she said. But it did not feel wrong. She looked at her father. It felt bright. Orin felt heat rise to his face again. The arbiter turned toward his daughter. Describe the human mind. She closed her eyes briefly. When others think, it is led, controlled, guarded. She opened them and looked at Orin. His mind is loud, creative, chaotic. The guards shifted uncomfortably. But warm, she continued, and unafraid. Orin almost laughed at that. He was absolutely afraid. But he stood anyway. The arbiter exhaled slowly. There are old theories, he said quietly, about species whose neural patterns are adaptive. He looked at Orin again. Humans are new to the consortium. Poorly studied. Orin raised an eyebrow. That sounds about right. One of the guards almost smiled before catching himself. The arbiter made a decision. The bond will not be severed today. Lyris relaxed slightly. But, he continued, if this connection threatens her stability, I will act. Orin nodded. Fair. The arbiter turned to leave. But before he did, he asked one final question. Human, when the station collapsed, why did you risk yourself? Orin did not hesitate. Because someone needed help. The arbiter studied him for 3 long seconds. Then he left. When the doors closed, the corridor felt lighter. Lyris exhaled. You were brave. Orin shook his head. I was terrified. She smiled softly. That is what bravery feels like. But neither of them noticed something else. On the far side of the station, in a dark observation chamber, a consortium intelligence officer replayed footage of the corridor incident. He zoomed in on the energy readings. Then zoomed further. The psychic spike from Lyris had doubled. After physical contact with the human, he sent the data packet immediately to someone higher, much higher. Because if humans could amplify psychic species, if their chaotic neural patterns boosted alien abilities, then humanity was not minor. Humanity was dangerous. And the galaxy had just noticed. Orin Cole did not sleep that night. He sat in a chair beside Lyris's recovery bed, listening to the soft hum of the station's life support fans and the distant groans of metal settling after the quake. Every few minutes, he glanced at the sealed medical door, half expecting armed guards to burst in and drag him away for memory correction. But the door stayed closed. Lyris stayed awake too. She watched him like he might vanish if she blinked. You keep checking the door, she said quietly. Orin tried to smile. Habit. That is a lie, she replied. He paused. Okay. I'm worried. Lyris's fingers tightened around his. A small spark of feeling brushed his mind, warm, steady comfort. She did not even seem to try. It simply happened. That was the strangest part. The bond was becoming easy, natural, like it had always been there, waiting for the right moment to wake up. I do not understand humans, Lyris whispered. You fear, but you still stand. Orin looked at her. That's kind of our thing. Lyris tilted her head. It is foolish. He chuckled softly. Sometimes. Then his smile faded. But if nobody stands up, the bad guys win. Her eyes searched his face. Then she whispered, almost like she was learning the words by holding them carefully. "I will stand with you." That sentence sent a sharp pulse through the bond. Not pain. Not fear. A promise. Orin felt his throat tighten. "Thanks, Lyris." Outside the medical bay, the station's night shift moved like ghosts. Mining stations never truly slept, but after a disaster, everything felt quieter. Like everyone was waiting for the next terrible thing to happen. It came in the morning. 2 blue-skinned guards arrived at the medical bay with a cultural liaison and a neutral-looking drone hovering beside them. "We require the human Orin Cole," the liaison said. Orin stood up slowly. "For what?" "For evaluation," the liaison replied. Lyris's emotion slammed into Orin's mind. Instant alarm. "No," she said sharply. The liaison bowed slightly. "Lady Lyris. This is a standard procedure for interspecies bonding incidents." Orin glanced at Lyris. "I'll be okay." She shook her head hard. "You do not know them." Orin lowered his voice. "I know. But if I refuse, they'll come back with more guards." Lyris's eyes glowed faintly. "Then I will go." The liaison hesitated. "That is not necessary." "It is necessary," Lyris said, voice turning cold. "If he goes, I go." The guards exchanged looks. They were trained for physical threats. They were not trained for a royal telepath whose power had suddenly spiked beyond normal limits. The liaison gave a stiff nod. "Very well." Orin and Lyris were escorted through corridors Orin had never seen. The station's diplomatic wing was damaged, but the consortium ship docked nearby had deployed temporary walkways, smooth, glowing bridges that ignored the station's rough industrial design. Everything about the alien vessel felt quiet and controlled. No exposed wires. No noisy vents. No messy human repairs. It was beautiful. And it felt like a cage. They entered a chamber with a circular floor and walls made of shifting light. 3 figures waited inside, wearing scientific robes and neural crowns, devices that wrapped around their heads like silver vines. The oldest stepped forward. "Human Orin Cole. We are the Cognitive Directorate." Orin blinked. "Sounds important." The scientist's eyes narrowed slightly. "It is." Lyris moved closer to Orin. The director's gaze flicked to her. "Lady Lyris, your presence is unusual." "Everything about this is unusual," Lyris replied. The director turned back to Orin. "We will perform harmless tests. We must understand what happened." Orin crossed his arms. "And if I refuse?" The director's expression did not change. "Then we will consider you a threat." Lyris's fear sharpened, but Orin placed a hand gently on her wrist. He felt her emotions stutter, then settle. She was stabilizing because of him. And that thought made Orin's stomach drop. If the consortium understood that, they would never let him leave. Orin forced a calm breath. "Fine. Harmless tests." The director gestured. A drone floated closer, projecting a field of soft blue light around Orin's head. "Do not resist," the director said. "We will measure neural rhythm." Orin sighed. "This feels like resisting is going to happen." The drone's light pulsed. For a moment, Orin felt nothing. Then, images flashed. Not his memories. Someone else's. A cold ocean under black stars. A city made of crystal towers. A child crying behind a wall of glass. Orin gasped and stumbled. Lyris caught him instantly. "What did you do?" she demanded. The director looked surprised. "We did nothing beyond measurement." Orin stared at the drone. "I just saw things." The director slowly turned toward his team. "Increase scan depth." The drone brightened. Orin's head buzzed. His teeth clenched. His vision blurred. Suddenly he heard voices, not out loud, but inside his skull. 3 layers at once. The scientist's thoughts. They were thinking in patterns, not words. Cold analysis. Suspicion. Greed. And underneath it all, fear. Orin jerked back. Stop. The drone powered down immediately, as if something had pushed it away. Everyone in the chamber froze. The director's eyes widened slightly. You heard us. Orin's heart raced. I think so. Lyris stared at him, shock spilling through the bond. You cannot do that. Orin swallowed. Apparently I can. The director's voice turned careful. Humans have no natural telepathic organs. I know, Orin snapped. I'm new to this too. The scientists exchanged quick glances. One thought pushed harder than the rest. Capture, isolate, replicate. Orin felt it like a knife. He looked at Lyris. They want to use us. Lyris's anger flared so hot it almost made Orin dizzy. The lights in the chamber flickered. The air vibrated. The director raised a hand quickly. Calm yourself, Lady Lyris. We mean no harm. Lyris stepped forward, voice low. You are lying. The director stiffened. Our intentions are for the safety of the consortium. Lyris's eyes glowed brighter. Say the truth. The director's jaw clenched. For a moment, his face twitched, like two forces were fighting inside him. Then words slipped out, unwilling. The human is a catalyst. Orin's blood went cold. The director continued, voice strained. The bond has awakened abilities in both of you. If this spreads, species will panic. Wars will start. Powers will shift. Orin stared. So your solution is what? Lock us up. The director's eyes darkened. Containment. Lyris stepped closer to Orin, trembling with fury. No. Orin felt it too, her protective instinct sharpening into something dangerous. He took her hand firmly. Lyris, breathe. She blinked. Her glow softened slightly. Orin turned back to the scientists. You're scared because humans change the rules. The director's silence confirmed it. Orin leaned forward, voice steady. Here's the thing. Humans have been changing the rules since we learned to throw rocks. One scientist's thought spiked. Terminate. Orin felt it instantly. He reacted without thinking. He grabbed a metal chair and slammed it into the drone. Sparks exploded. The room's light field stuttered. Alarms began to howl. The door sealed shut. The director stepped back, startled. You just destroyed consortium property. Orin panted. You were about to destroy us. Lyris pressed her palm to the door. Her mind surged outward like a storm. But the door held. It was shielded. Designed to block telepaths. Lyris's fear hit Orin again. Real fear this time. I cannot open it. Orin scanned the room fast. Alien technology everywhere. Smooth. Perfect. Untouchable. No handles. No tools. No weak points. Then he saw it. A maintenance panel in the floor. Hidden beneath the light field. Small. Simple. Ugly. Human style. Because even the consortium needed human engineers for some station repairs. Orin dropped to his knees and ripped it open with his fingers. Inside were wires. Real wires. Not glowing energy conduits. Copper. Plastic. Old-fashioned. Orin almost laughed. The director watched, confused. What are you doing? Orin grinned, sweat on his brow. What humans do best. He yanked two wires and crossed them. The chamber lights died instantly. The shield field collapsed. The sealed door clicked, then unlocked. Every alien in the room froze in shock. Lyris stared at Orin like he had performed magic. Orin grabbed her hand. Run. They sprinted into the corridor as alarms screamed behind them. Guards shouted in alien tongues. Footsteps thundered. But the ship's corridors were designed for smooth movement and perfect order. Humans were not smooth. Humans were not perfect. Humans were chaos. Orin ducked into a side passage, dragging Lyris with him. He pressed his ear against a wall panel and listened. He could hear the guards' thoughts now.
Not clearly. But enough. Search left. Surround.
Do not let them reach the station.
Orin looked at Lyris.
Can you jam their communication?
Lyris blinked. I can try.
Orin squeezed her hand.
Do it.
Lyris closed her eyes. A wave of pressure rolled through the corridor like invisible thunder. Distantly, guards shouted in confusion. Their movements staggered. Orin smiled grimly.
Good.
They ran again. Toward the docking bridge. Toward the station. Toward the messy, loud, imperfect place where Orin understood every broken pipe and hidden maintenance panel. The consortium thought control was strength. Humans knew something else. Improvisation was strength. And now Orin and Lyris were bringing human chaos into a ship that had never once been forced to adapt. But as they reached the bridge, Orin felt a sudden spike in the bond. A warning. Not from Lyris. From somewhere else. A presence touched Orin's mind for a split second, vast, cold, watching. Then a single thought echoed like a dark bell. Interesting. Orin stumbled. Lyris caught him. What is it? Orin swallowed hard. Someone else is here. And whoever it was. They were not scared of humans. They were curious. And that was worse. The presence in Orin's mind did not feel like Lyris. It was older, colder, larger. It did not push with emotion. It observed. Like a scientist staring at something unexpected under a microscope. Orin staggered on the docking bridge between the consortium ship and the mining station. Lyris held him upright as station alarms echoed in the distance. Orin, she whispered, fear shaking through the bond, what did you feel? He steadied himself. Something big. Not your father. Not the scientists. The docking bridge lights flickered. Then they shut off completely. Emergency strips along the floor glowed red. At the far end of the bridge, a tall figure stepped from the shadows. It was not armored. It did not wear robes. It wore a simple dark suit lined with faint silver threads that pulsed softly. Behind it, guards stopped abruptly, as if invisible walls blocked them. The figure raised one hand slightly. Everything went silent. Even the alarms. The High Arbiter's voice came through hidden speakers. Stand down. All personnel hold position. The figure spoke. Its voice was calm, smooth, almost gentle. I wish to observe the human directly. Orin's pulse pounded. Who are you? The figure studied him with glowing pale eyes. I am Executor Thalen. Oversight authority of the consortium. Lyris stiffened. Even through the bond, Orin felt her shock. The oversight authority. That meant above High Arbiters. Above the Directorate. Above politics. This being represented balance of power across dozens of advanced civilizations. And he had come personally. For me. Orin asked. Thalen tilted his head slightly. For the anomaly. Lyris stepped forward despite her injured leg. He is not an anomaly. Thalen's gaze shifted to her. You have increased your neural output by 211% since contact. Lyris's jaw tightened. You are unstable. Orin stepped beside her. Or evolving. Thalen's eyes returned to Orin. Humans are not a psychic species. Apparently we're full of surprises. For the first time, something like interest flickered across Thalen's face. Yes, he said softly. That is what concerns us. The red emergency lights brightened. Thalen extended his hand slightly toward Orin. Permit me. Before Orin could answer, pressure filled his skull. Not painful. Just overwhelming. Thalen was scanning him. Deeply. Orin felt layers of himself being peeled back. Memories flashed, childhood on Earth, training in engineering school, laughing with co-workers, crawling through broken tunnels, carrying Lyris through toxic gas. Then something unexpected happened. The scan did not just read him. It reacted. Thalen's eyes widened a fraction. What is this? Orin felt it too. The bond. It flared, but not violently. It expanded. Like a circuit completing itself. Thalen took one step back. You are not generating psychic output. No, Orin gasped. You are amplifying. Lyrissa's mind surged in agreement. Thalen looked between them slowly. The human neural pattern. It is chaotic. Non-linear. Adaptive. Orin tried to focus through the mental pressure. That's a polite way to say messy. Thalen ignored him. Your mind does not resist psychic energy. He paused. It reorganizes around it. Orin blinked. Meaning. Meaning, Thalen said quietly, you are not becoming telepathic. He stepped closer. You are becoming a bridge. Silence filled the docking bridge. The guards behind Thalen shifted uneasily. Lyris squeezed Orin's hand. A bridge, she whispered. Thalen nodded slowly. Your neural structure absorbs foreign psychic signatures and stabilizes them. Orin's heart thudded. So I'm, what? A battery. More dangerous than that. Thalen's eyes hardened slightly. You reduce volatility. Orin understood suddenly. That's why Lyris isn't unstable. Thalen gave a faint nod. She should have fractured under this level of growth. Lyris looked confused. Fractured. Psychic overload, Thalen replied. Loss of identity. Orin felt cold. She would have died. Thalen did not answer directly. Silence was enough. Orin's fear spiked. The bond surged in response, but instead of exploding, it smoothed. Balanced. Thalen's gaze sharpened. You see? The human calms the storm. The guards exchanged worried looks. If this spread, psychic warfare across the galaxy would change forever. Species that relied on mental dominance would lose their advantage. Species that feared psychic races would suddenly have protection. Power structures would collapse. Thalen studied Orin carefully. You did not train for this. No, Orin said hoarsely. I fix pipes. And yet you may have altered galactic equilibrium. Orin let out a shaky breath. That wasn't on my to-do list. For the first time, a faint curve touched Thalen's lips. You are honest. Again, kind of our thing. Behind them, consortium ships adjusted position outside the station windows. Weapons arrays powered quietly. Precaution. Orin noticed. So what now? He asked. Thalen clasped his hands behind his back. There are factions within the consortium who will demand your containment. I figured. There are others, Thalen continued, who will demand your replication. Orin grimaced. Hard pass. Thalen nodded slightly. And there are a few who understand that forcing humanity would be unwise. Orin met his gaze steadily. You're starting to get it. Thalen stepped closer. If humans can stabilize psychic output, your species could become central to interstellar diplomacy. Lyrissa's eyes widened. A unifying force, she whispered. Thalen inclined his head. Or a destabilizing one, if mistreated. Orin felt anger spark in his chest. You treated us like minor contractors. Thalen did not deny it. Your species was underestimated. Orin gave a short laugh. Story of our history. Thalen studied him one last time. Tell me, human, if we allow this bond to continue, what will you do? Orin did not hesitate. Learn. Thalen waited. Understand it. Control it. Make sure nobody uses it to hurt others. He looked at Lyris. And protect the people who stand with us. Lyrissa's emotion flooded him. Pride, fierce and bright. Thalen turned his gaze to her. And you, Lady Lyris. She lifted her chin. I will not allow fear to guide us. Her voice steadied. I have seen his mind. It is chaotic, yes. She glanced at Orin. But it chooses kindness. Silence. Then Thalen made his decision. All containment orders are suspended. The guards stiffened. All experimentation directives are cancelled. Shock rippled through their ranks. Thalen continued calmly. A joint research initiative will be established instead. He looked directly at Orin. With your consent. Orin blinked. You're asking? Yes. Orin exchanged a glance with Lyris. She nodded slowly. The bond hummed, not with fear now, but with possibility. Orin looked back at Thalen. Then we set the rules together. Thalen extended his hand. After a moment, Orin shook it. The contact sparked, not violently, but steadily. Balanced. Behind them, the High Arbiter watched silently from a projection panel. His expression had changed. No longer cold. Curious. Respectful. Across the station, rumors were already spreading. The human engineer who defied the directorate. The alien princess who refused to sever her bond. The oversight authority who chose cooperation over control. And far beyond the asteroid belt, other species began reviewing old assumptions about humanity. Not warriors. Not telepaths. Not rulers. Something stranger. Adapters. Bridges. Unpredictable variables in a rigid system. Later that night, Orin stood with Lyris at the observation window of the mining station. The consortium ship glowed softly nearby. You could have gone home, Orin said quietly. Lyris looked at him. I am home. He felt that through the bond more clearly than words. People are going to be afraid, he said. Yes, she agreed. But curiosity is stronger than fear. Orin smiled faintly. Definitely human. She tilted her head. And now, a little bit mine. Somewhere in the depths of space, encrypted messages traveled faster than light. Reports of a human who could stabilize psychic storms. Of a bond that broke ancient rules. Of a species no longer considered minor. And on a damaged mining station in the asteroid belt, a simple human engineer and a once fragile alien royal stood side by side. The galaxy had tried to control the future. But humanity had done what it always did. Adapted. Improvised. And turned fear into something brighter. This was only the beginning. Because if one human mind could amplify and stabilize alien power, what would happen when billions of chaotic, creative, stubborn human minds entered the stars? The galaxy was about to find out. And this time, humans were not asking permission.